Dear friends in the Dhamma, this is my talk about the problem, the reason why we should get into meditation. So why should we do meditation? What's in it for us? What's the motivation? What's the real reason why we should do meditation at all? There are many benefits of meditation, like bodily and mental health, more calm and peace, sleeping better, better interrelationship with other people, and on it goes. But this is not the real reason, this is not the real why we should get into meditation. Everybody of us has 6 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. These senses exist and are working constantly, and on the subconscious level they even work at night. And for these 6 senses we work day and night. Our whole life is built around these senses. So we struggle day and night just to satisfy these senses. We are constantly on the hunt for enjoyments, to get nice images, sounds, smells, tastes, sensations and memories. So we are constantly out hunting for these impressions. Because of these impressions from the senses, there arises desire in our mind. Or is it the other way around? The Buddha called this kind of person a bodhujana, a worldling. Bodhujana is a word for a worldly person who does not know Dhamma, according to the Buddha. A bodhujana is called blind, he cannot see, but a person who attains enlightenment gets cured and starts seeing. The wheel of samsara is rolling on and on. For millions of years we have been reborn again and again. Each time we create these 6 senses and the impressions come. We start grasping again, spending all our energy, all our time to run behind these senses, to find some little bit of satisfaction. So the Buddha's very first lesson deals exactly with this problem. This was the first thing the Buddha researched, on seeing the 4 signs, seeing an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and a holy man. He realized that suffering is universal, and he devoted his whole life to find a cure for this disease, for this suffering. Follow not after the vain, understand the ills of sense pleasures. One who is vigilant and meditative obtains deep joy, by the Buddha. Paticca, it's not the object we desire, the desire is in the mind. So we believe the things out there, the objects give us satisfaction. But actually the desire is deep rooted in our mind, and we grasp sensations from the 6 senses which are impermanent, meaningless and empty, but we take it as real, and we think these objects give us some little bit of satisfaction. The senses cannot give any lasting satisfaction, because all these impressions from the 6 senses are empty, without essence, and ultimately meaningless. Let's say there's a crazy person who has some leaves in his hands, thinking it is money, and he takes great pride that he's a very rich man, that he can do many things because he's so rich and powerful. Other people would say he's just crazy, he's just holding some leaves in his hands. He has nothing, it's meaningless what he has, it has no value. But looking at our life, are we not doing the same thing? We are grasping impermanent, empty, meaningless things. We take great pride in all these material objects around us. We think we are rich and powerful, we have this and that. But ultimately, it is all anicca, it is impermanent, useless, meaningless, has no value. So what is the difference between this crazy man and our normal behavior? We spend our whole life trying to get material things, to get some satisfaction from the senses, which ultimately can never satisfy us. So that is exactly the behavior of a puthujjana, a worldly person, according to the Buddha. There's also one verse in our Buddhist texts which starts with this. Health is the greatest gift. Contentment is the greatest wealth. A trusted friend is the best relative. Liberated mind is the greatest bliss. And many people think when the Buddha says health, it means bodily health, to be free from disease. Arogya paramalabhe. But if we analyze this verse deeper, we will see that the Buddha meant something completely different. Because he was calling all the puthujjanas kind of sick. They are all suffering from a certain disease, which is greed and desire. And once you are free from this desire, once you free your mind from all attachment, then you gain the highest, the greatest gift. So the Buddha's teaching is here to free us from this madness, from this disease. So the Buddha made it his mission to free people from this attachment, from this desire, and cure them, make them well again, cure their blindness and help them to see things as they are. The way we are grasping things can also be analyzed as the Panchopadana Skandha. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Rupa means the external form. Vedana means the connection. Let's say I see a car. The form gets connected with my eye. Sanya means I get the sign. I know now I'm seeing something. Sankhara means I start analyzing it. It's a red car. I like it. And Vijnana means this memory goes again back into the subconsciousness as a memory or a new karma. But this cycle of creating new karma from moment to moment can be broken at this sanya level. So if you sit in vipassana meditation, you can observe whatever is coming into your senses. And whenever something comes in, you note it with a neutral thought. Let's say I see a car, I do not analyze it as I like it or I don't like it. I just say, I see something, there is a form, and that's it. And I move on with my meditation. Now what we usually do when we get fed up with an object, we try to change the object. So when we cannot get satisfaction anymore, we think we change the object, and then again we expect some satisfaction again. But if the satisfaction does not lie with the object at all, how to get a lasting satisfaction? It is all only temporary, just for the moment. Avijja paccaya sankhara. Caused by ignorance, we create karma from moment to moment. Avijja is also called ignorance or drushti. The Venerable Sariputta, which was the main disciple of the Buddha, was once asked, what is avijja or ignorance? He gave a very nice answer. The attempt to get satisfaction from the senses. That is avijja. So the idea that the six senses give us any lasting satisfaction is the problem. Avijja paccaya sankhara. We can also not destroy the senses because they are already the result and not the cause. So we got this rebirth, the senses, the mind, because of our karma from the past. What we can do to be mindful in this present moment, to retrain the mind not to grasp anything now, and then we can change our future for the better. Let's say somebody is going to see a doctor because he is not well, he has some fever, he is weak. What a good doctor would do, he would try to find out what is the cause for this suffering. So he will not just give you some pills so that the fever goes away. He will check the whole body and try to find out what is the reason for this fever. And then maybe he finds that there's some infection or some bigger problem. So he starts treating that infection, and by that the fever also will subside. Similarly, in our meditation, we should stop the problem at the root cause. The law of cause and effect. We have to understand how karma is working, how the Panch Upadana skandhas come into effect. Because of past karma, desire in the past, we have got these senses. But we have to stop the problem at the root. Hetu nirodha, phala nirodha. Cause ceases and the effect ceases. Meditation is often compared to a deep operation. So you find the cause for the suffering. You remove the cause, and then also you remove the effect of it. It's like a dog with a bone. The dog is licking on the bone, trying to satisfy his hunger, to satisfy his satisfaction. But the bone cannot satisfy the dog. There's no flesh on it. But again and again the dog is trying to still his hunger through licking on the bone. Very similarly, we do the same thing. We try to satisfy our desire through objects which come to the six senses. Day in, day out, we play this game. We always get the same result. But we get never tired of trying it again. So we became slaves to our senses without knowing the problem, the cause for our suffering. This is the most important achievement of the Buddha, to point out this problem and to find the solution. And that's what the Buddha did here with the Four Noble Truths, saying there is suffering. The cause of suffering is our desire. The end of suffering is when you remove the desire. And the Noble Eightfold Path leads to the end of suffering. If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got, by Albert Einstein. So why is there suffering? Why do we suffer? What is the reason for this suffering? It is our own desire, our own grasping, our own greedy nature, which we can undo in our meditation. You retrain the mind not to grasp anything, and you can free your mind from all the desires. So it is not the outer objects that entangle us, it is the inner clinging that entangles us by Dilopa. And Alan Watts says this: Buddha's doctrine, man suffers because of his craving to possess and keep forever things which are essentially impermanent. This frustration of the desire to possess is the immediate cause of suffering. So So this is the most important point and also the problem, why we should start with meditation in the first place. So I hope that all of you will continue their Dhamma practice, continue their meditation. May you all reach stages of awakening and realize full enlightenment. Etang santang etang vanitang yadidang sapasankara samatu sabupadi padinisakko tanhakkayo virago nirodo nippananti.